live on May 22nd with a Northwest Florida beach update. I want to kind of update you on what's going on with the Gulf oil spills. Let's come down here and look at the water. It is absolutely ideal conditions, absolutely crystal clear, pristine. In fact, you couldn't ask for a better day on the beach. One other thing I want to point out is we're actually here on the beach. We're not in a newsroom or studio somewhere in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're not in a studio somewhere in New York City. We're actually here. So what we would suggest is some of the news people come down here and show other people what it's really like on the beach right now. And let's ask somebody that's walking by and see what they think about this oil spill situation. Here's somebody. Sir, how you doing? You enjoying the beach?
Oh, loving it.
Loving it?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your name?
My name's Emery.
Emery, look at the camera here. What can you tell us about the oil spill?
Oil spill.
The one that's in Louisiana.
Oil spill in Louisiana? I'm in Destin.
How far away is that? Do you know? About 250 miles?
Oh, at least that, yeah. A long way away.
So did that bother you when you were making plans coming here?
Oh, not at all.
Where are you from?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, okay. Yeah. Cherry from St. Louis, what do you know about the oil spill?
I haven't seen hide nor hair of it here, and it says it's going the other way, away from Florida. So don't fret, come on down on vacation, and have a good time.
All right, thank you.
The only thing I've seen are manta rays.
Manta rays, yeah, the manta rays. Yeah, we saw them yesterday.
Of them?
Yes. Lots of crabs, lots of manta rays, lots of dolphins, but no oil, huh?
No oil, not a drop.
Where are you from?
Whitefish, Montana.
Whitefish, Montana. What's your name?
Chap Godsey.
Chap, you came from Montana. You kind of risked it, didn't you, because of all the news about the oil?
Yeah, we were a little worried when we came, but it's been all good.
Have you seen any oil?
No oil.
In fact, is this like ideal conditions?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So what would you recommend that other people did that were thinking about coming down here?
Come on down.
Come on down. Thanks.
A huge oil spill bound for the US coastline. A looming environmental catastrophe, the source likely to continue spewing more oil into the Gulf of Mexico for months. Louisiana and Florida both declaring a state of emergency in coastal regions. Marine life, fragile marshes and the local seafood industry in peril.
It could take us out of business for a while. I guess about the only thing we could do is jump on board and try and help them clean it up. It could be devastating.
The oil slick could become the nation's worst environmental disaster in decades, threatening to eclipse even 1989's Exxon Valdez in scope. The spill already encroaching the mouth of the mighty Mississippi River, a threat to migrating and nesting birds and the rich marine life around the coast and marshlands.
Covered in oil, dead. This bird is just one of many killed by a massive oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Found on Louisiana Grand Isle Beach, wildlife officials quickly documented and removed the animal. Nearby local residents watched as the oil consumed their beaches.
This is, just well known that oil vapors cause respiratory problems, central nervous system problems, right down the line. And it's not just in humans. This knocked out harbor seals in Prince William Sound because they came up and they breathed the oil vapors. And when their carcasses were autopsied, their brains were fried from breathing the vapors that are out there. We knocked out over 20 whales from the same problem, narcotic effect of volatile organic carbon. And this is what EPA is now saying is at high levels, here.
So not only the people doing the cleanup, the fishermen out there right now, but the media that's covering this event, they should take heed to this.
The thing is that our bodies only have so many ways to say we're getting sick. And the symptoms for chemical-induced illnesses mimic colds and flu. So we had the Valdez crud in 1989. We had the Katrina crud. We had the 9/11 crud. Really the problem here is that we're talking about toxic exposure. If it's a cold and flu, you get over it when you go home. If it's not, I get people like now saying, I thought I had the Valdez crud in 1989. I didn't think I would have it for 14 years, 16 years, 21 years, dead.
There is now a pretty good possibility that they're going to evacuate certain areas of the Gulf Coast. Now, why would they do that? Well, there's benzene now in the atmosphere around this oil slick, these oil spills. And if you don't know what benzene is, just Google it and you'll discover that it leads to all sorts of, it's been known for years.
Right on. I know what you're saying. Benzene's some ugly shit. The short-term breathing of high levels of benzene can result in death, while low levels can cause drowsiness, dizziness, rapid heart rate, headaches, tremors, confusion, and unconsciousness. Eating or drinking foods containing high levels of benzene can cause vomiting, irritation of the stomach, dizziness, sleepiness, convulsions, and death.
I mean, there's just a whole list of nasties that this stuff can, long-term exposure can do to you. But what I think they're talking about right now is an evacuation of the Tampa Bay area. Now, they haven't announced that yet, but what's going around on the internet, you can pretty much figure that that's going to be around the corner here.
Some are writing that the entire state of Florida may end up being evacuated.
And, you know, you can also pretty much predict that there's going to be other areas they're going to need to evacuate along the eastern seaboard maybe, or at least in the Gulf Coast, as this stuff starts to really come ashore and really start floating around. So I'm not saying it already is, but it hasn't already. But it's going to be massive. And the New World Order, as we know, is going to use this.
A very real prospect of a dead Gulf.
It's going to be a major item. They're going to use this. They're going to use this panic scenario to just crack down on all sorts of things. And just be on the lookout for that.
The gift that keeps on giving.
It's not that benzene's not poisonous and dangerous. It's just that, you know, you can see it coming.
It would appear that we may be in much deeper shit than we ever imagined.
You got that right. No oversight. It's like BP runs the joint now. CBS reporters were trying to film the oil being spilled up on a beach, and BP came by and told them they'll be arrested if they keep on filming. So BP has the right to go around arresting people on the Gulf Coast. Perhaps they have some kind of authority that we don't know about. The petroleum industry is onto itself with little government regulation. They set all the standards the American petroleum industry do. A lot of the laws. And then you got agencies like the MMS who are supposed to oversee them and be watchdogs for the people. But instead they've been reduced to a catering agency who supplied like prostitutes to the executives, and cocaine, party hats, and kazoos. Dancing girls, you know, that's about as useful as they are. I was pretty surprised to learn that they were digging 30,000 feet under the floor of the ocean. 30,000 feet, that's as high as airplanes fly. And they hit some kind of like incredible pocket with incredible amount of pressure in it. Surprise, surprise. The Russians did it a few years ago up to 40,000 feet, but they did it on land. So yesterday I got unconfirmed reports that there were seismograph readings from all over the world that went off at the same time concerning the explosion in the Gulf of Mexico. No doubt it's that. They they made a vein when they dug that 30,000 feet, and as soon as it blew to the surface, since then it's been eroding the walls of that vein, and probably clogging up with debris shooting up from it, and pressure probably got so high that it just blew into a chasm. So we've got like a huge volcano of oil under the ocean. They took seismic readings of it and found that the cavern that this vein is connected to is the size of Mount Everest, and it would take 25 years for it to exhaust itself naturally. By then, all the oceans of the world would be black. Hopi prophecy. I'm sure not seeing a lot about this on the TV. Up here in Canada, you wouldn't even know there's an oil spill going on. But as you see, they're showing Florida. They're showing that Florida is all very nice. And they're probably really trying to keep it off Florida shores for now, at least for the summer, by by flooding the Gulf with dispersing chemicals that are worse than the oil. But as long as everything looks good and the beaches of Florida don't get washed up with oil, everything's okay. They don't mind if it spills into Louisiana. That's their garbage dump. Mississippi, you know, all that's total garbage dump for them. But they have to keep Florida looking pristine. Even what they did show from damage, they showed like one bird being killed by the oil, and they talked about an oil-washed beach, and the beach they showed had no oil on it. So the viewer must have concluded that the media was exaggerating.